Hi, Ron. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. We're starting today. It's Lizzy Pip and Ronald Bartholomew, and nothing's been arranged, nothing's been written down. We're just going to go with the flow, go with our hearts, and we'll see where it takes us. And this is not only for us, but most of all, it's for humanity. And above all, it's for the children that will take this planet over in the future. And that is our prime objective, to help humanity. All else is irrelevant. So we'll start with that. The date today is the 17th of April and it's 2023. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
And we will start. Right, Lizzy, first question. Did you want to introduce yourself first? A little bit about yourself.
I think it'd be a good idea to sort of tell the audience like a bit about us and how we met. So
Yeah.
Ron and myself, we were part of an organisation and we met through that. Um, then we left the organisation, but we all created a soul tribe, so to speak. And Ron and myself have always had a good connection. And this is what the reason behind our videos at the moment, because we feel that we've got a lot to contribute and we've got the masculine, feminine, and also the age as well, just to show that it doesn't, these boundaries shouldn't be in place. They don't matter, there's duality everywhere and there shouldn't be. We should all be one. So well, I hope that these chats might be useful for people. And yeah, so that's a bit about how we met. So Ron, over to your sweet self.
Thank you, Lizzy. Sweat up. Very nice of you. As for myself, well, I don't mind sharing my age. I'm 75, hell of a lot older than you are. But then, as a soul, and there's the opposite side of myself, the feminine principle, because I carry the masculine in this lifetime. But the tremendous love and respect I have for you, even though you're a hell of a lot younger than I am, but it doesn't matter. Age is, as they say, a number. And I always appreciate your input because I know you're a very wise soul and you have so much love and fun to give. You're so bubbly, you're so trusting, you're so loyal, and you are a beautiful soul. And I feel very honored to have met you in our group when we first started. We're still together. We've still got our own group running, and it is a soul tribe. It's a real mixed bag of men and women equally, different age groups, different backgrounds.
Mm.
And there's never any criticism. There's never any put downs because I think we're all working on the same hymn sheet. We're all together as one. And I find that very beautiful.
Yeah,
As
it
for
is
my
beautiful.
life, yeah, as for my life, I've been on the spiritual path since the age of 13. It's a long time, and it's time I gave back to humanity some of what I've read, some of what I've understood. A lot of stuff is esoteric, and the spiritual side of life, which we don't have chance to talk about these days because we're not taught it in school.
Mm.
And that is sad. But I leave it to you, Lizzy, to carry on for a while, and then I'll listen to what you've got to say. and then we'll take it from there. So over to you.
Bless you, Ron. You were supposed to talk about yourself, not me. But I appreciate you so much for those kind words. And Ron, you'll never know how special you are. You are like the matriarch of the family. And it's so interesting how we've all kind of like found each other. And we're not the only group because I've met other people who have done the
Yeah.
same thing. So it's fascinating how our souls are able to find each other. It's almost like we're drawn together, like for a reason, on purpose. We all know what we're doing, but we don't. Our egos don't know what we're doing. And I find all that fascinating. And Ron, you are so knowledgeable. Like you have so much wisdom. Like, and I totally respect everything that comes. I mean, the words that come out of your mouth sometimes, I'm just like, whoa. So I'm blown away.
Bless you.
Um, but you are like the matriarch of the family, and like you are very beautiful inside and out. Just a heart of gold. You're very vulnerable. You are very vulnerable, like myself, which is beautiful. Beautiful to see a man vulnerable. We need more of that. We need to see more of the men actually working on themselves and being vulnerable. And some of the channeling you do, I know, is just invaluable. It's just no one else can do that but you. That's your knowledge, and that's amazing. Like what comes through you, and you share it with the group, and I just love that. I love that ability that you have. It's magic. Um, and I'm a little bit jealous of that because I do try and get that, and it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, I don't shut up, as you know. So so I'm learning. It's a learning progress, but you teach me, and we all learn every day. But I think the purpose of today's video is we're going to talk about the masculine and feminine energies. Um, so I don't know if you've said you had a couple of questions that you might want to ask, or whether you want to start off like that, or
Yes, I think I do actually, Lizzie. I think to get into the deeper levels of why we're here, what we're trying to achieve, if I bounce it off of you first, and then you can give it back to me, because through the conversation, wherever it goes, wherever it takes us, that will help humanity, because people are still going through their crap and their problems, their emotions,
yeah.
their breakups of relationships, their childhood. You've had it full on, so have I. And we did discuss this in a private one a few weeks back, and it's not been easy for either of us.
That's
Uh,
more a Jeremy Kyle moment, that one. Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, the questions I'm going to put to you, and take your time in answering, take as long as you need. Where you are now as a single mum, you've got a grown up daughter. Obviously, she can fend for herself now. I'm not sure of her age. Is she 24, 26?
26.
26. Okay. Well, she's a fully grown woman in her own right. So are you. You've got a young boy, Charlie. So, and he is very sweet. I know
Mhm.
you love him to bits, and you are
Yeah.
a true earth mum. So, bless you for that. What I'm going to put to you is, what do you want for your kids? What do you want from Mother Earth? What do you want to share being on this earth? What do you basically want for Charlie? Because obviously he needs you more than your daughter does now, because
Mm,
she's fully grown up. But then
yeah.
you will still give to her total love. I know that. And you
Mhm.
want to see her spread her wings and fly away, because it's getting near her time. She needs
Mm,
to do her own thing. Charlie will be with you for several years yet, because he's only young, he's 10,
mm,
and he is very special. And when he grows up, I think he'll realise that. So,
mm.
what do you want for him and for your daughter? And how would that fit in with all the earth changes that's going on? And also, most important, you've reached the middle time of your life now. What do
Mm.
you really want for you? What do you want in your heart of hearts for yourself?
Okay. Right, that's quite a lot of questions. So I'll answer the first ones about Charlie and Nicole. Now, it's interesting you've brought this up because obviously I've only been on my spiritual path the last sort of 3, 4 years, maybe a bit longer than that. So the way I talk to Charlie is completely different to how I used to talk to Nicole.
Yeah,
One, because I was a lot younger then, but two, obviously, my language is changing and my thought processes have changed. And a typical example this morning, Charlie was really nervous about going to school. Now, he's got a new pair of glasses because he broke the other ones, and they're exactly the same, but he kept panicking. People might like keep going on about his glasses. I mean, to us, it's not a big deal, but for him, it obviously was. So the language I've been teaching him was, I was saying to him, Charlie, you're creating a story in your head that hasn't actually happened yet. So why don't we change the story into no one's going to notice my glasses. I'm going to have a fantastic day. So that's kind of one example of how the difference in now and when Nicole was quite young. So with Charlie, what I really want for him is to be able to connect to source, to be able to have the freedom when he's older to not put up with the BS that we've had to put up with, to have no chemicals in his food because he's being poisoned already by you know what's it.
yeah,
Um, and just to not have that extra loads of battle on his hands. He's got a war already going on in his head. And the same for Nicole. I mean, Nicole is like saving up for a mortgage. I mean, the mortgages itself is just gotta be careful what I say here. The mortgage itself is just a rip-off. Um, and she is trying desperately hard to like save up a deposit. Uh, And half of me feels like saying to her, just don't bother. What's the point? Because that's another story. But I would like her to have the ability to like get out there and have her own place and feel the world for herself because I know she's desperate for that. But obviously, she's being halted in her tracks. Um, but what I want for both of them, I mean, I love them more than oxygen, they're my life, both of them. And I just want them to be happy. That's all I want for them. I don't care what career they have, I don't care what they do. I love them unconditionally. It's the love for a child is always gonna be like, but I would never rest if I left this earth, and I would never rest if it was like it is now. So let's just hope that with everyone's consciousness rising, that this whole world will change because I think people are going to need to follow the path that we're on because otherwise there's going to be duality anyway, but the duality, we don't want that duality to divide different people again because that could happen. But I think I just want them to be healthy, happy, and yeah, maybe be able to connect to Mother G and Source because obviously we've been dumbed down to it all our lives. I mean, the stuff that I've awoken to is just shocking. I still find out stuff now that's I've been brought up on lies. Um, so truth, love, happiness, that's all I want for them. And to have respect for Mama G
okay.
and grandchildren.
And now we come to you.
And grandchildren.
And now we come to you, Lizzie. You know,
Okay.
you're about halfway through your life.
Yeah.
Okay, we could live a hell of a lot longer, and that's another story. Our bodies are capable of living for at least 800 years, but that's another story for another time. But in your heart of hearts, what do you want for yourself?
Okay.
Because there's going to come a time when your children will have fled the nest, they will have their own life. Um, what do you want for you?
Now that's a really interesting question because I kind of know what I want right now, but when you say it like that, as in when the children have fled the nest. Yeah, it's an important question to ask yourself, isn't it? Without labels, who are you and what do you want? Um, it's easy for me to say I'm a mum and I work for this and I do that. But in my heart of hearts, I mean, as you know, I just want to play music. That's all I want to do. Not all the time. I want days off. Um, but what do I really truly want? I just want sunshine, happiness, music, and no, I want to get out of this ego, which I'm working on. Been working on a lot of inner healing for a while, and I've got an intense year coming up, starting in June with Self Love Club with lovely Lucy. So I'm going to be picked apart there, but I'm ready for it. And I think once I've done that, I'm hoping I'll have the confidence, and the ego will be like, ego. And ideally, I'd like to play music for Soul School. That's my goal, and be a part of the Soul School process. So when I say Soul School process, what I mean is we are trying to create physical soul schools. So not just the events online or at the venues, but literally raise money to create these for our children. So the children will come to soul school, and they won't just learn about like spiritual things, but it'll be school. It won't be the school like at the road, like at the moment where they're being taught a load of crap. So yeah, it's really what I want right this moment. That is what I can see myself doing in the future, and that's what I would really like to do. I'd like to get out of my job right now. Um, I'm so tempted to just get up and go, but obviously the logistics of it right now, I can't, because of financial reasons. Because unfortunately, money seems to be the only way of surviving these days. Um, but yeah, that's all I want. And then once I've worked on myself, maybe I might be ready to find some love. But at the moment, I'm working on me until I can fall in love with myself. I'm not going to fall in love with anyone else, and I'm not going to expect anyone to fall in love with me, because I've just had that mistake so many times in the past where I've just accepted poor. I've had no boundaries, put it that way. So, and I know why now. I didn't then. So, and lots of sunshine. Please, lots of sunshine. That's all I want is sunshine. It makes me so depressed when it's raining.
Reminds me of an old song, "Give Me Sunshine." It's a beautiful song,
Yeah.
it is. Lizzy,
Sunshine.
thank you for speaking from your heart. And I know that came really from your heart, and I felt that, and you can feel the emotion in me because you
Oh,
speak with so much love and
do
so
I?
much. Yeah,
You.
it's beautiful. Um, would you like to explain, well, to me, and also to everyone that will hear this tape, what the objectives are and what Soul School is all about, and what your part is in it, what its objectives are, where is it going for the future, how many in the class, is it mixed, is it men and women or boys and girls, or could you
Mm.
talk about that for a while and give us a broader spectrum of what it's about and what you want to get from it yourself?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so at the moment, soul schools are created for people who want to unpick their emotional traumas and heal themselves of dis-ease. So, and the incentive of that is the more people that are freeing their vessels of this obstruction, that's a better way of saying it, the more people that can enlighten the world and spread the healing. Because I think, as much as Lucy, oh my god, she blows me away. You want to see her when she's channeling on stage. She's not there. It's not her. It's literally like she's just like, oh, I'm totally in awe of her. But I think her aim is to You know, once people like myself are healed, she doesn't want to see us again. I mean, I'm her friend, so she will want to see me again, but she wants to see, not in a horrible way, but she wants people to be at that position where they don't need the help anymore, and then they can go and do what Lucy's doing. Yeah, so people can branch off and do that. Um, there are males that do attend soul school, and you know, it's beautiful to see. Some of them, I think, come because they're supporting like their mums or their partners, and they actually
Yeah.
do benefit from it, and they're quite shocked by the emotional suppression that they've had, because they do tend to have a good experience when they've been to soul school. Um, there's obviously going to be more women, because I think women are, I think intuitively, because they're born to be mums, I think they're more in tune with this type of work. Um, but it's important that the men do come along as well, because I know they benefit from it.
Yes.
The whole soul school experience in itself, I mean, some goals. I mean, I can't really say, because it's Lucy's show, you know, it's Lucy's project. But the music, if I could be part of Soul School one day, and I'm actually confidence to stand on stage and maybe play the piano, that would be awesome. Or, you know, just to attend it every time would be great. But just anything that's that kind of work is fine by me, because as much as I love music, I don't want to be a pop star, or go off that direction. I don't want to be famous. I don't want any of that BS. Not at all. That's not what I'm doing it for, which is, as you know, I'm quite shy about all that. Um, but if I can do something that I really love as a career, then I mean, we should all be doing that anyway, shouldn't we? We should all be doing things we love. We shouldn't be like enslaved. So yeah, I think more men will attend soul school. It's interesting, because we've had some people, some women, who've actually produced feedback after the events, where they've gone home and they've actually affected their family members just by being, from their experience. They've come back, and it's rubbed off on them, or basically it's shown, it's almost like a mirror effect, I suppose, but family members have like benefited from people who have attended soul school and come home. Relationships have been saved after like 17 years, where people thought they just were going to walk away, and they go home after soul school, and they've worked things out. It's like really interesting. So even if you're not attending soul school, it can affect, well, it affects you anyway, so that affects your family. But yeah, we've had people say that um their marriage has been saved, or my daughter was healed when I got home just from chatting to her, you know, stuff like that. So I think, yeah, sorry, I've forgotten what the question was.
So have I. I think coming back on what you just said, when
Mhm.
you heal it in yourself, you heal it in your immediate family, and you heal it everywhere. Because don't
Mm.
forget, at the highest level, we're all one. We're all
Yeah.
part of the global consciousness and the global mind.
Mm.
So therefore, the more we work on ourselves, the more we get rid of all this conditioning and BS, as you say, the better it is for everybody concerned. And by healing it within, we also heal it without as well. And that is the true journey. What we really want is not outside of ourselves, it's in here, in our heart, in our consciousness.
Mm.
That's where it has to come from ultimately. But we're never taught it. And there's a reason why we're not, because they want to enslave us. And that's the thing that on this planet that has to change. It will only change if we take back our sovereignty, our power,
Yeah.
not only as feminine, but also the masculine, because the masculine has been well and truly dumped down over recent years.
Yeah.
And if you look at the transgender, where that's going, it's to
Mm,
destroy the masculine, because
yeah.
we're the ones that ultimately are the warriors that will get up and fight for our females, for our companions, for our wives, and for our children. And this is why they want to dump down the masculine energy, turn real men into transgender, where they're wearing skirts, and that is total BS as far as I'm concerned. That's and it's even being taught in schools as well, which
Yeah.
to me is a diabolical affront to humanity.
Oh, it's an
And
insult.
it is part of the dark agenda to totally break down family values, take down our togetherness, our hugs, our embrace, our family values. And this is what they're trying to destroy,
Yeah.
to split us apart, keep us in our little pigeonholes, break down society, break down family values. And that's where we've got to stand up in our sovereignty and our rights. That is paramount to change the reality. And we can only do it from the inside first, and then the outside will change.
Yeah. Very wise words. And, God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Let's be honest.
A wonderful statement that is. I love that. That's brilliant. Oh boy, have you hit that one on the nail?
That's a Lizzy comment, isn't it?
Oh,
But
is it?
as you
I
were
didn't.
talking then, you actually made me realize something as well, like how when I go back to talking about how we all unpicking our emotional trauma to clear our vessel, that is the only way that the light will come through, and that is what we need, and that's ultimately what we need to achieve for the whole of humanity. Um, but yeah, the transgender thing, the black and the white race thing, I mean, the list is endless. The efforts that they have put into dividing everybody. I mean, even down to the latest, with this, the divide 2 years ago. It's not so bad now, I don't think, but it was really bad 2 years ago because it was very like, you're this, you're that, or you've not had that, masks, blah, blah, blah. Can be very careful what I say. Um, and that divide hasn't gone away, and it's very difficult for people like myself who are trying to not let the ego interrupt or get in the way of still being as one with people because we are, I've got no prejudice or no I've got no angst or no bitterness towards people who have been cruel to me because I do forgive very easily. Um, but a lot of people don't realize what's gone on and they just don't get how they can come to us if they need us. And this is where we need that level where people can connect in that way. Because I think so many people and still believe in the narrative so intensely that it would stop them even being in a room with somebody who isn't wearing a mask and gloves and or a hazmat suit. You know, it is that bad with some people. So, how do we break that how do we smash that invisible wall to let them know that it's safe to come to us and we can help them because there's so many people we could help, but the barrier they've been brainwashed so much and their thought process is so rewired. It's very difficult to get that unity, and that's what we need as well. We need to get back that barrier, not just with the transgender and the this and that and the you're black or you're white or you're green and you're blue and you're this party, you're that party. Um, you wear a man bun, you don't, and all this nonsense, this noise that we hear. It's just confusing. It's like it's distorting all the radio waves, isn't it? Like it makes my brain go a little bit weird when I talk about it because I don't actually know how to. bring it out in language. It's very difficult for me to get the right words. I think you know what I'm trying to say. But I think, yeah, the masculine side of things have been, oh gosh, I mean, I have been fighting as much as I can to with the children in particular. You know, drag queens reading to our kids in libraries. I mean, you've seen me out there with the best of them. But you know, where are the men fighting at these times? Where are these big? Don't get me wrong, there are some men, but the rest of them are quite happy to have 6 cans of beer and just sit behind the telly and just ignore it all. I mean, what's happened to them? Can you imagine them trying to fight in the Vikings times, you know, and what would they do? Hide behind a rock? I mean, we know that certain people in the Black Hats Association would do that right now. I mean, if anyone stood up to them face to face, they probably cowered away, wouldn't they? Like the little snakes that they are.
I think on
Maybe
that,
we should
on that,
put this on Rumble instead of YouTube.
yeah, we can
Yeah.
have a really good go then. I think in
Yeah.
answer to that question, I think there is a time when the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine, it is definitely time for women to take on their empowerment. They have to balance out hundreds and hundreds of years of male dominance. Um, Perhaps in the greater scheme of things, perhaps that's meant to be. You know, try not to be judgmental. I know the dark side and the cabal are trying to suppress men's warrior instinct by turning us into pussies. You know, there's no other way I can put that. And it's just not on. But at the same time, we need to stop our dominance because through the church, through religious dogma, it's always been about middle aged and older men that have run this planet and have run it for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Mm.
Women have only ever been second class citizens, particularly in the Arab world, and that might inflame a few people on the front. And for that, I will apologise. But we've got to have a balance between the female and the male. And it is time for the female to take the reins, take back their sovereignty, and take back their power on equal terms with the masculine. And I think that's coming about. This is why men might be going into the shadow side now, where women are coming into the full sunshine of their maturity, of their life, and they will work with Mother Earth. They won't destroy it like the masculine has, rape it and pillage it, because as above, so below, the masculine has always raped and pillaged the female. The same with Mother Earth, it's the same principle. And that has to stop and it has to be balanced out. And that's where the law of karma comes in. And we will take a back seat. We have to, because we need to pay that debt off of how much we've not only raped and pillaged females, but we've done the same to our Earth Mother as well. That needs to be addressed. And I think this is why we're going through this phase now. But it will balance itself out. It will come into fruition, but it needs to take its time. And we need the women to take up their power. We need to demonstrate in London, in Birmingham, in Manchester, and say, we're not going to put up with this anymore. You do not have our consent, and enough is enough, because they will fight to the death for their children.
Mm-hmm.
You go back to the jungle and you look at the lioness when she's wounded, she's more dangerous than any male lion. Trust me.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
And
That
she
was
will
really
fight
beautifully
to
put.
the absolute death.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ron, when you were talking then, I just had a moment of clarity.
Right.
I think you're right when it comes to the men have literally stepped down
Yes.
to let the women rise. Now the women have risen. It's time for the men to come back. So what you were saying then made perfect sense because the feminine energies have all gone, and we have risen now. We are there. We are risen. But now it's time for us to bring you guys back to us so that we are all, as you say, one. Um, so that was a really interesting way of putting it, Ron. I'd never thought of it quite that way, but which makes sense because that's probably why there are more women out there at the minute because it's our job. That was our role. That was our role. We don't need the men out there fighting and being aggressive and causing mayhem because that's what they want. The dark side wants. They want to cause chaos. So this has been divinely this has been divinely planned in a way that, well, not even planned, it's just happened so naturally, and it makes perfect sense that the men should become quite weak. So really, putting estrogen in the water and stuff like that may have done humanity a favor. So we ought to be grateful to the Black Hats for that because they've allowed the men to take a step back, let the women rise up in their power, and now it's time to all come back as one
Yes, yes.
and say, screw you, big gov.
I think looking at dark and light, and that's a very difficult one. You can get your head round it, but it's very difficult to get your heart round it. And that is about true forgiveness. The rape and pillage of Mother Earth, of women particularly, and of children most of all, that's very hard to forgive. I must admit, I'm not there. I can't forgive that.
No,
I don't think I ever will.
no.
But then I'm still learning. Yes, I am 75 and I still, every day, I learn something new. And while we're on the subject of balancing the masculine and the feminine, there is a third element here, which we can both learn from. And it's this very special time on this planet where we've had about 3 or 4 waves now of indigo children, star children, rainbow children. And yes, they do need to know right from wrong. They do misbehave. They do need to be trained in how to live, how to respect nature, how to respect their pets and their animals if they have them, and not ill treat them. Because a lot of kids love rabbits and gerbils or budgerigars or cats or a dog, and they have to learn how to look after them, love them, because we need the animals as much as they need us, but we need the children because they are our ultimate teachers. They will take us through to ascension. Make no mistake on that. They
I
have that inner core.
Yeah, I think when you say about they need to be taught, I don't think they do. I think they need to. I mean, they're here to remind us of what
Yes.
we're supposed to be doing. So all dues to them. Um, but also, yeah, they will present in the 3D world as maybe ADHD or
Yeah.
this child does not concentrate or it could be a case of these kids are also they're trying to dumb down everyone, so these children I think intuitively would know how to treat an animal with respect. Do you see what I mean? I don't think the labels that the 3Z will give these children is just so that it is a label and it's easier for them to dumb them down rather than just let their light shine. So, but yeah, that's an interesting point. And yeah, I do look at children now. Like I was at my auntie's house yesterday for her birthday, and my cousin's girl was there, and I've not seen her. I've not met her once, and she's 6, and she just had that cheeky little. I know she's a cheeky little thing, but I called her instinctively. I just said, "Oh, you're an indigo child. You are. You're here for a very important mission." I mean, my family all looked at me like, but she looked at me and she was drawn to me then. It was like she literally was like, "Oh, look this." And I was like, "Oh, wow." So yeah, it's interesting how once you've got that knowledge and that awareness, you do interact with, well, not just children, but with everyone in a much different way, and it's fascinating for me. I mean, it's fascinating. I love it all. I love it all. And in fact, I never want to stop learning because I do have brief moments where I think, oh, what happens if like you never stop learning? But I don't think anyone will ever stop learning. So
I think
yeah,
I say this lightheartedly. I think the only time we stop learning is when we stop breathing.
and then you're just leaving your meat suit.
Yeah,
You're still,
yeah.
you've got to learn it all over again because you've got to learn what happens to you when you're whizzing around doing whatever we do. I mean, what do we do
Well,
in God's waiting room?
that's another interesting subject.
Yeah.
I often look at humanity, and I don't say this as a put down, but this is a man's perspective, a men thing or a man thing. I look at motor cars, and I must admit, I'm a petrol head. I love fast cars.
Yeah.
I love sports cars. Perhaps it's because it's an outer projection that perhaps I like really vibrant, racy women. Who knows? They turn me
Or
on.
you just like fast cars like a lot of men do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask Lucy about Mahoney's cars, oh dear, he needs a car transporter just to move house.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah, he's got
No,
lots of cars.
I look at cars, and I think it's an outer perspective, because when a car gets old, you know, it's looking its age, and you've literally run it into the ground, and you think, so, well, it's not going to carry on much longer. Something's going to go wrong with it. First, it gets oil leaks, like we get bladder leaks and God knows what else. And, a motor car is like a human being. You look at all the things that can go wrong with it. And in the end, it ends up on the scrap heap. And then you think to yourself, okay, I can't drive this anymore. I'm going upstairs for a while. I'll come down with a new model. And this is what rebirth and reincarnation is all about. And some people don't even understand that. They say,
Yeah.
well, you just have one life and that's it. How the hell do they know when you only have one life? Okay, I'm in a masculine body. How do I know what it's like to be a female? Do I know what it's like to have periods every month and the things women go through? Because it can be really stressful. And when you have bad periods like some women do, it's horrendous. And you have mood swings with it. You know, I can feel that because I'm balancing my masculine and feminine. And
Yeah,
I know
you're
what
very,
I do feel what women go through.
yeah, you're very in tune with women, very much so. I think,
I do understand them. I don't always get it right. I do make cock ups like everybody else does, and I'm still learning. But I think they have a tremendous responsibility.
mm,
I know we fight the wars, and women need a strong masculine man in times in their life for protection and
mm,
to look after the family, look after the children. But a woman's role is far superior to a man at any day of the week. And I'm not giving away my masculinity by saying that. It's
no.
a true, real role that women play because they have so much to deal with and it
Mm,
can't be easy. And also, an earth mother to bring up their children should be that.
yeah.
Why should any woman have to do a full time job,
Mm,
work herself almost to death, come
mm,
home, do the washing and ironing, feed the kids,
mm,
bath them, put them to bed, and keep a full time job as well? That to me
mm,
is slavery. It's horrific. And on this planet, it should never have allowed to happen.
yeah.
And what
Um,
time do we get for our spiritual journey to
mm,
learn our inner journey? we're not given that time because they don't want us to have it.
Yeah.
That's the crux of it.
Spot on. And in fact, I loved your analogy of the cars because I was going to say, us women, we need Range Rovers or Land Rovers. We don't need no pink minis.
Spot on.
Us women are we are wired differently in that respect. I think we're wired in a way to cope with the stresses of all of the enslavement because but equally it's very difficult not to hold that anger and that resentment because that time has been taken away from me having a bond with my children. Both of them have had to put into nursery or childminders from a
Yes,
very young age. um and that is wrong. Like, if a woman wants to stay at home, like, don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against people that do stay at home forever with their children, that's fine. But then in this society, it's only creating more of an issue when people have to work to pay taxes for other people. It's all just completely wrong, isn't it? It's just completely
it is.
unbalanced, but it's all done by design, just to dumb us down, like you say, give us no free time. And also, that going back to divide, this whole thing of religion, I mean, as we both know, we're all really praying for the same thing. Source, God, whether
Yes,
you call him Allah, or Buddha, or Steve, or whatever you want to call him, or Colin, it's we're all praying for the same thing. We've all got the same aim. So the religion is just another divide, and I think we are starting to see a bit of a dismantle of the whole religion hoax. But that's a massive divide, isn't it? And that's another distraction from our time to connect with. I mean, we all feel great when we're out in the woods, don't we? We feel great when we're out walking in the sun. Well, I do when the sun is shining. The kids are happy and playing around. But my son at the moment, he'd rather sit in his room and play on a game. It's but once he's out, he's fine. It's just getting him out there, and this is what we've been driven to. It's a case of anyway. I could just ramble on all day, but I won't.
I
Oh,
think with
oh no,
regards to young children and the school curriculum, and also it was called some years ago the Luciferian Rebellion, and that's technology. If we're not careful, it won't help us, it will enslave us. And that's AI,
yeah,
artificial intelligence. That's going to be the biggest fight for this planet. That's
yeah.
coming in the future. And that's the one thing we have to win. But
Mm,
going back to young children, I won't mention any names here, but I know a few people where relationships have broken up because of the kids, because particularly teenage boys, I think, probably worse than girls, they spend all their time in their bedroom. They can't cook. They can't look after themselves. They don't even have a bath. You have to nag them something rotten to have a shower. They leave all their dirty clothes upstairs. They're
mhm,
totally out of it because
yeah,
all they see is PlayStation and these
mhm.
games, and it's an overload of the left brain and not the right brain. They're totally one sided.
Is
And
that what
this,
it is? Is it?
that's what it is.
So that explains all the skid marks in my son's pants and the dirty clothes on the floor then.
That's it. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
And it's only when they become teenagers and then they realize they want something. I'm talking about boys here. When they want
yeah.
something outside of themselves and they find a girlfriend, they think, oh God, I stink, or I haven't put any deodorant on. I need to have a shower. And then they clean themselves up then. But unfortunately, I know I say this lightheartedly, it's a serious problem of unbalance between the left and the right brain. It's done for a
Mm,
purpose
yeah.
because you can't ascend through the left brain, only the right brain, the feminine, because the right brain is feminine. It births a new reality, which is what females do. They
Yeah.
birth a new universe, they birth children, and that's
Mm,
where we have to keep the balance. and this is the deep state again, they don't want us in the right brain, they want us in the left brain. And that's where technology, kids never move out of their bedroom, they're there all day. They don't even come down and share food with their parents, which they should do, because
Yeah.
eating at the table, honoring the food, and
Mm,
honoring that it's given its life up to feed
mm,
us, that is a very sacred connection to
mm.
Earth Mother, to the animals that may have given their life to help us. But children, particularly when they're 10, 11, 12, 13 years of age, never move outside their bedroom. And
Yeah,
that's something that is enslaving us and keeping us out of balance.
yeah,
All done for a reason.
yeah. And again, it goes back to, like I'll use my family as an example because I'm the only one that I can't talk about anyone else's families. But in this house, um, we all finish work. Like Nicole obviously works full time, so I'll come home sometimes. I don't get home sometimes till 7, 7:30. Charlie's already had his tea. I mean, he's almost ready for bed. Nicole might come home at like 6, 6:30, or she might go out for food after work. So it's all over the place. So going back to having to work all the time, yeah, another trick of the devil
Yeah,
to take that family time away, you know?
yeah,
And the availability of junk food, it's just
yeah.
too easy. Oh, why don't we just get a takeout? And then it's like more bloody toxins. Yeah. No, I totally agree. It's gotta stop.
Everything that you look at when you have time to think and time to reason, it's all about enslavement.
Yeah.
As a family value, and this is where it would be good now to talk about the indigenous people, where they have true family, they
Mm,
honor their elders, and they honor Mother Earth, and they have the wisdom and the knowledge that we've lost
yeah.
today. Okay, yeah, I think that is enough today, Lizzie. We've been running for about an hour and a quarter, so I think the next topic, and thank you for that input that you give when we was off the tape.
Mm,
It's important because everything's coming together. We've talked about the children, which will take us through to ascension. That is absolutely spot on that one. We're talking
mm,
about balancing the feminine energy against the masculine, where
mm,
women have to come into their empowerment, and
yeah.
we need to take a back seat for the time being. But then we will come together in unison.
Mhm.
That is paramount. The children are top priority for this new earth. But also, the other element that comes into this is the wisdom keepers, and they have the knowledge. A lot of it is not written down, but it's in their heart and it's in their consciousness. And that's the indigenous people around the world, the indigenous tribes. And one I will mention, which goes back a long, long way back, is the Dogon tribe in Africa. David Icke spoke about them at great length. And
Yeah.
also the Aborigines, because they come from the time of Lemuria, which we haven't spoke about, and they are the third root race. They are the oldest indigenous people on this earth at this current time. There's
Yeah.
not many of them left because they've interbred, but there are a few, and the true bloods of that race of people, most of them are up in northwest Australia, up in Cairns, and it's very tropical up there.
Mm.
And they are wonderful wisdom keepers. And
Oh,
we've
yeah.
also got the South Americans as well, you know.
Yeah. Well, my good friend Huna Flash, he's Aborigines, I think. He's from a ascendant, but he works with the Lumerian calendar and the higher stargates and portals
Yeah,
and frequencies. But he's got a lot of the wisdom and knowledge from ancestral times. So yeah, when you said Lumerian, then I remember working with the wow, ha, wa, ka, and all the different
Yep.
star signs, they're not what they are
No.
supposedly now, you know. I think my animal for April is, which is the first month of the calendar, um, is a gecko.
Right. Well, I've learned
Haunted, 'cause I
something.
thought,
I've
I don't
learned
want to be
something
a
today.
gecko. I thought it was a little bit too reptilian, to be honest. I was like, "Oh, can I be a bunny rabbit or something?" But anyway, it is what it is. So yeah, I mean, they have got so much knowledge. So I think that'll be a fascinating topic to talk about, really.
Yeah, we'll do that one next time. Lizzie, thank you for your input today.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for being on equal terms, because I honour you for that. I know you do for me as well. And thank you to humanity and the children, because whatever they take from this, they may think it's a load of BS or they may learn a great deal. It's there for them and it's there for their future, for their unity, their love, and their connection, because we are all one. No more
Beautiful. And
guilt, no more
I
divide.
just I'd just like to say as well, thank you to the rest of our soul tribe, our soul family,
Yes,
because they are the glue to, for me personally, like the reason we've all come together is so important. And the reason that we've got this connection, Ron, and our family are there behind us, supporting us with no judgment or no sort of, I'm trying to find the right words, but I just want to thank them as well because they're a massive part of this.
oh
And
God, yeah.
you're all a massive part of my life. Well, you are my life. So thank you to you, Ron. Thank you to our family, and thank you to the divine for bringing us all together. And let's just hope that people might enjoy our chats and benefit from it. So I look forward to speaking with you next time, Ron.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll finish it off then by saying yes to our soul tribe. We may be the front runners of doing these interviews because it does work and it feels right. And whatever channels come through, it's not about us, it's about our soul tribe, which is part of us and it is us.
Yeah,
They are the backbone and the bedrock, because it wouldn't have happened without them. And with all of us together, I look forward to our meeting on Saturday. And I know we'll have a wonderful time. And we've got a quiz. So we'll find out who the brainy ones are and who the two watt light bulbs are. And that would be
who the
fun.
piss heads are.
Well, we know who the piss heads are, don't we? Lizzie, a great deal of love and support to you, as
I love
always.
you.
I love you too. And I'll be thinking of you tomorrow. Have a wonderful birthday.
Oh, thank you, darling. I can't believe
And
I'm 21.
I
Oh,
know you've just gone over that 21 and a bit, isn't it? Yeah, we'll
love
end up
it.
with fun on a high note and fun. So we'll leave it there.
Oh,
I'm going to turn the tape off and I'll see you Wednesday on Zoom.
yes.
And thank you for your time. And
Thank
also
you.
a big thank you for your input. Most important.
Thank you, Ron. Okay, press stop. Press stop, and then we can talk again.